When you think about overlanding, you rarely think up the southeast. Many of us dream of traveling out west, but here in our own backyard, I want to take you to a very special place, a place you have probably never heard of before. In a roundabout way, I am a transplant from the mountains in Tennessee, but truly, I love the Lowcountry. Deep in the heart of the Lowcountry are Savannah and Charleston, South Carolina. This weekend, we're heading up to neighboring Charleston, South Carolina, a very historic city with deep roots that date all the way back to before the Revolutionary War, to early colonization. Charleston has always been a major port. Outside of Charleston is a beautiful area called the Woodlands Nature Reserve. Now, this is private property, but in total it encompasses 6,000 acres and over 30 miles of trails. We are one of the lucky few who get to go explore these trails on our own with almost no limitations other than please drive safely, help your buddy out, and be safe. We winched a few people out ourselves, but join me on this ride as we go to a brand new event that I'm happy to say brings overlanding to the South for those that may not be able to make the major expos or the major events out west, up north, or wherever. But this is a great place to begin your overland journey. This is Overland South.
Hey guys, so we are at a brand new event called Overland South. I wanted to come last fall, wasn't able to make it. This one is right in the heart of Charleston, South Carolina. We've got this beautiful lake right behind me. There are alligators down here, there are snakes and other wildlife. They've got all kinds of events going on. They're still in the fun stage, so it's not a whole lot of vendors, but we do have probably 150, 200 plus overlanders out here in everything from Subarus to Jeeps to Toyotas. I've seen RVs and school buses, so it's really a family oriented, bring what you have type event. And then the other thing I wanted to tell you guys is I've received a few comments about the long intro video and losing some folks. The reason I do that is 90% of folks are not subscribed. And so they don't know who we are. So I like to roll that video just so that they know, a little bit about who we are and what we like doing. All right guys, quick walk around Project Rampage. In case you didn't know, we trade in our 2021 Jeep Gladiator around Christmas. We started the new build in January. We finished it up over the course of January and February. And this, my friends, is Project Rampage. The latest addition we made is the Big 5 Overland. Why so long? Well, it also helps me judge my height when I'm going under trees, because I have come across several trees. Up front, we got the ARB bull bar, Badlands winch, trusted 371350 R17 Toyo MTs on some black Tactic wheels from Quadratec. Up top here, we've got the AV snorkel with the Cyclone intake. If you want to get a Cyclone for yourself, snorkelupgrade.com. They're a great group of guys. We did our event down in Florida with them at the Save Expo. This is something I'm glad we upgraded. So underneath, we've got full metal cloak skid plates all the way from the oil pan all the way back to the rear axle where the def is located. So these are beefy, between 3/16 and 1/4 inch. So in the back here, we added the HD 1000 airlift airbags. We're just trying them out. The other airbags are really too small for the clay and springs. These do have a little bit of noise to them. On the rear bumper, I have the Expedition 1 tire carrier with dual swing outs. And so over on this side, we've got our Inca 4x4 bag. We've got our 37-inch spare. We've got our full build out back here with our Iceco fridge. Thanks to Rob at Revere Overlanding and Bill at Cody Wample for pitching in some stickers. We got a few other folks that have given us stickers over time. We got our Milwaukee pack out slide. We've got our drawer set up with all of our tools and camping gear. And then over here, we've got our Dometic here, which is nice. If you want to brush your teeth or wash your hands, you just tap it twice, water comes out. And it's attached using a cap that is actually 3D printed from a company called Iggy Core. No, it's not supposed to be FDA approved and all that. but it is super cool, super handy. The Dometic just plugs right into it, and you order the cap or the line, and then you have to order a little weight for the bottom, so when the can gets empty, the weight automatically sinks. And then this is our Grove Fab Works jack. Over here is our fire pit. We have not fired that up yet, but we're gonna cook some breakfast, go see some events, show you all some cool rigs. So that's a cool 80 series Land Cruiser over there. It's a cool Gladiator. Looks like we got a Ford, Toyota, F-250, Chevy over there, and a green Gladiator, kind of like ours. So lots of cool vehicles out here. Just up the road is Matt Brodie and his family with Simply Must Go. They're a pretty good sized channel out of the South. They came up, they were at the Save Expo. Living accommodations, we got a CVT tent, personal tent for changing. They provide porta-johns here. We got the Gazelle set up, and then just a table so folks can see the Gazelle at night. So we will have to make sure we mark our campsite better at night just for safety. But let's get this adventure started and see what all we can see. So we kind of just got lost out here, and we're using Onyx Off-Road, which if you see the red line over there, that's kind of where we were before, up near the lake. So we're just kind of circling back around. It's a pretty drive through the woods. There's over 6,000 acres out here and a lot of miles of track. It's a neat old building. Wood Water Tree Farm. Here's an old building. Just kind of caved in over time. Here's where we came in. So this just kind of loops around. So we had a pretty fun moment. We're on this total blacked out route, and it was one lane, and so we backed up for a good 750 feet or so to let a Toyota come through. So we're headed towards our next adventure, I guess. Oh, I guess. All right, guys, so we got Toyota that got high centered. This thing is a muddy mess out here. We've got all these Jeeps. It is thick and nasty, and check it out. There's Subaru over here tearing it up.
So after the Toyota got unstuck and we watched the Subaru, I decided to put the drone up, just check it out. And one thing I was really impressed with was this Defender. And this is an actual military Defender. You'll see it's got the Red Cross on it because this was a former service ambulance that was imported. And this guy drove this thing like it was designed to be driven. He tested the limits of it. So check this out. This rock buggy was another cool build, and it actually has a 1.9 liter Volkswagen diesel engine in it, 40s front and rear with solid axles, and this thing was pretty awesome.
Awesome. There's an next shade in it. And this stuff is super slick. It's like peanut butter almost. Extra creamy peanut butter. So part of the raffle, the National Guard was doing a ride-along giveaway. And so everybody showed up. We got everything from Broncos to Jeeps. And it is muddy out here. We got the Jeep out of the way and these folks are gonna have a good time. A little muddy out here. We got so much action going on. We got a Land Cruiser over that way. Getting ready to come over. Big crowd, big turnout.
When you drive down into the water.
So we missed the Humvee ride, but we did capture a few other cool vehicles like the CJ5, and then we've got the Unimog, and that's actually Jeff's, and we'll talk to him a little bit later. So after spending some time at the obstacle course, we headed back towards camp to go see what new adventures lay ahead. Flat nose, this is pretty cool. I like these cab overs like that, and this one's a crew. That's super cool. Look at that long arm kit they got. Got the worn A274 rather. That is a cool Jeep. So we're about to check out the Raptor flight. So as part of a larger conservation effort, this rescue group for raptors or birds of prey came out and gave a great demonstration of different birds. All these birds are ones that have been injured and they are either, nursed back to health and released into the wild, or in the case of these animals, they are unable to survive on their own in the wild. So really it's aviaries and rescue groups like this that give these animals a second chance at having a good life.
This is a bird that is not used to certain things like this, so I want him to have a good experience. Hey, if you come down, there's a nice big piece of reward. And you can feel comfortable with this.
We're here with Mark, and he's got a very interesting and rare thing. So you're a real live fossil hunter, give or take, right?
Yeah.
How long have you been doing it?
I found my first megalodon when I was 10.
Okay.
Which is the fascination for surface hunting. Right up to the time I found my first articulated animal, which was a whale skull about the size of this, which led to a fascination of finding articulated animal. With Palmetto Fossil Excursions, we've kind of taken it a step further. We've got more of a support group and that can actively go out in the field and do excavations. Doing an excavation in Ridgeville, which we had permission to be there, and we were doing basically removing the fossil layer to preserve it and taking it to our location in Dorchester. We came across the first articulated walrus that's ever been found on the East Coast.
Oh, okay. So that's a walrus test.
That was one of the tests. We actually have both, and we have the fossil itself. We couldn't take it out to be displayed. It's got to be, in a case. But this was one of the finds that we've made. Phenomenal find, displaying it hopefully soon in a museum or a research institute that we're putting together. But this is all representations of fossils that are found right here, believe it or not, in the Lowcountry, including giant ground sloth. Now, if you can imagine, that's a claw core.
Oh, wow.
A replica, of course, but of a claw core from a giant ground sloth, an animal that stood 19 foot at the shoulders.
Wow.
Yeah, this was also found in giant concrete in the Camelot site, the richest Ice Age fossil deposit in South Carolina.
What are the 3 different teeth you have here?
This is the Angustodon, which is the ancestor of Megalodon. We found those in the area in the Chandler Bridge Formation. The 26 to 28 million year old shark tooth.
Wow.
Which is the ancestor of Megalodon. This tooth is a little over 6 inches, which would probably represent a shark that was somewhere in the neighborhood of about 50 feet long.
Wow.
And as most people wouldn't imagine, but in the Lowcountry of South Carolina, the saber-toothed cats, Smilodon fatalis, and you can see why they call him Smilodon.
Yeah, he's smiling at you.
That was actually found in giant concrete.
Oh, wow.
What they call the Camelot site.
Okay.
Which is Ice Age deposit that was super rich with bones. As far as with Palmetto fossil excursions, we basically take people out and teach them how to collect and identify fossils. We've got 2 locations, one in Dorchester County. We've got 100 acres there that we lease, and we literally excavate the fossils off the property itself. We've got big screening tables that you can screen the material, or you can dig on the location. We also have another location here. It's basically at the corner of 61 and 17A, where you can go out and dig for the big megalodons. A family-oriented dig. We take out adults that are a little more serious about really getting in there and doing some work and trying to find a megalodon. And if you put the hours in, you tip pretty well. We've had a lot of good results. But if you're a more relaxed hunter, the 100 acres is a whole lot more so for taking your family, your kids out, letting them screen for fossils, and we identify them on site.
And so what's the best way to get a hold of you?
You can reach us through Facebook. I'll tell you what, let's focus in on this, and it'll give everybody an idea. You can actually
scan the QR code from the video, and it'll pop up on your iPhone or your Android.
Yep.
Perfect. All right, well, thank you, sir. All right, guys, so we are having an outstanding time. This place is muddy as all get out. If you like mud, this place is awesome. Good thing is, for the most part, it's got a hard bottom. Yep, got a little pinstripes, I think. There's just so much to explore out here. A diesel with the low end torque, you just kind of crawl. I've been using it mostly in manual mode.
This was really a great opportunity to just learn how the Jeep handles. I'm coming from a manual Rubicon to a diesel with the electronic transmission. So this is something completely new. There's different features of the automatic from the manual, and it is smooth, the torque is there, and so far I've loved it. The only thing I haven't really tried out is the crawl control. this was another interesting situation. Two vehicles meet on a single track with swamp on each side. Really no clear place to pull off safely to let the other vehicle pass. And this gentleman did about as good as he could, and we barely squeezed around him so that he could get by us. And I'm sure we got some new pinstripes in the process, but what can you say? It's a Jeep.
Got a little mud. Oh, there's a trail there I hadn't seen. That backup camera is awesome. Relocation bracket puts it about perfect off-road. Down another trail. So put in off-road plus, sway bar disconnecting, drive, and then what I like to do, I've been using manual mode over here. So you can put in first gear when you come to something you need to power through, and then you can go to second, get you a little better fuel economy and not burn as high of RPMs. And we've been down this road where it connects. I think this is right behind the obstacle course. We should be able to take a left up here and find some more. Good thing is because this is mostly sand-based, it'll take and come in with a grader and be easy fix. Oh, I think that's Matt Brodie. So as you can feel this, well, you probably can't feel it for those of you at home, but if you look closely, there's a lot of roots on this trail. Sounds just like peanut butter down there. Looks like we just follow this posse of Jeeps and Broncos. I will say that I think we've got the perfect tires for this with the Toyo MTs. They just grip and go. You don't have to have a lot of wheel speed. Now, we didn't go through the obstacle course because I didn't want to get high centered on any of that. I'm not gonna lie, even though we got the full metal cloak skid plates. Sometimes discretion is a better part of valor. And so we're just having a good time, man. There's plenty of mud out here to get on the tires. That and we're a little heavier than the average person too that's out here on this trail. Looks like we got us a green Jeep behind us. So we do have to get back in time for barbecue, but for the most part, I mean, you got a little bit of everything. You got some nice 2-track where it's fairly well maintained to all that rutted up stuff we just drove through and the big mud bogs. Good thing is everything's pretty much got a hard bottom because they do this a limited amount of time. You don't have people out there with their 40s just, you know, doing donuts and rutting it up. So overall, I'd say it's great. This is definitely a hidden gem, and you don't get to do this unless you, one, know the people that manage the reserve, or you come to Overland South. So I like it. And our hood is, well, our hood is no longer green, it's kind of mud. So much for the pretty paint job. You sure you don't want to play around in here? Oh, big hole.
We have our keynote speaker tonight, and this is, I think, a very wild story. It has to do with the Wamba Cycle Trail, which only run within 2 hours of Charleston. And I just assumed it's a trail, everyone knows it's there, we're going to have it forever, it takes care of itself, and none of that is true.
For me, I'm not a motorcycle rider, and I'm not a resident of South Carolina. However, the message that this group brought was extremely important. You know, it takes organization to protect our rights to use government lands. And so Blue Ribbon Coalition's a very well-known one. You know, they fight all the issues out of Moab with BLM land, or the Bureau of Land Management. And right here in South Carolina, they're having the same thing. For me, I've always been passionate about off-road. I believe that, you know, you clean up after yourself, you pack out your trash, and you dispose of it properly. So no matter how you feel about, you know, conservationists, what have you, if you are into the overlanding community, you need to respect the land. You know, you need to respect the laws, and you need to do your part to make, you know, overlanding a positive reflection on our community. Because if you don't, it could easily be taken away with simply the stroke of a pen. So what would a overland event be without a raffle, or any off-road event? So Jeep Beach, Great Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion, Expo East, they all do raffles. And this one goes to a great cause because, you know, they had a 50-50 raffle where it actually went to support the keynote speakers and their coalition to save that off-road community. So, you know, it's sometimes when you pitch into these raffles, it helps organization. Other times it helps other organizations and nonprofits. So if you want to find out more, contact Overland South and just inquire about, you know, their keynote speakers. But for the most part, it was a great time. They gave away a lot of great gifts. It takes a lot of people, sponsor wise, to make events like this successful because they are expensive. Can they be money makers? They can. But once again, it's more about pulling the community together and having a great time and celebrating with each other. Venues cost money. Porta-johns cost money. Everything out there costs money, and that gets rolled into your ticket prices. So that's why they can be a little bit expensive. to go to these events, but they also don't want anybody and everybody coming. And so that's why tickets aren't just $5 at the gate. So with that being said, we're going to move on because after we concluded the raffle, it was time for the night ride.
Oh, we got Jeff's coming around.
I think I can take that hill, but I didn't want to slide over on
Yeah, they're about 80 feet in, and
I see it.
if that. Well, I don't know if they're like, we'll just pull this side if you want to come around. Grab them with the Unimog. What's that?
Do they need me?
I don't think they need you. Just in case anything breaks. I'm not a fan. Yeah, I'll stand over here.
That feels pretty hard, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty dry over here.
I'll have them pull over right there. We'll get a couple cars through, and we'll have them spin around.
That's right. He's a trail marshal. What he says goes. Turn around. Let's go.
So apologies for not catching all the action, but basically we made it through. No issues. Most of the Jeeps did. Right behind me was a Bronco, and it was stock. Capable vehicle, but even with the rear locker, the tread was just kind of a street tire and didn't have enough grip going through. So we winched them out, pulled back in, and just kind of ended up directing traffic. Where these cars are coming through, there's a pretty steep ditch with about 3-foot drops on each side. So after negotiating the marsh with about 1 foot, 2-foot ruts, you would come up and over down into a ditch, and then you'd have to take a sharp right. If you took it too sharp, you could do like we almost did and end up in the ditch. There were multiple vehicles that got stuck on this section, including a Chevy 1500 and another couple of vehicles. The Jeeps, again, did just fine as long as they had an all-terrain tire. Personally, I like the MTs, but we ended up cutting this trip a little bit short and headed back to camp for the night.
All right, guys, so we just got back to camp, getting set up. Great night ride. We had to cut out a little bit early. Lots of stuck vehicles, but we did get to use a winch. We pulled out a Bronco, and overall a good time. But we probably had about 30 people in the group. Got a plane flying over right up there. Cloud cover. All right, guys, so that's the inside of the Jeep. She'll clean up all right. Had the winch remote out. And on the outside, you can see we've got mud almost all the way up to the door. Went through some pretty deep stuff tonight. Other than that, man, she rocked. That's for sure. Definitely a strong vehicle. Over here you can see all the mud that's been caked up. We probably got an inch or two of mud on top of the Expedition 1 bumper. You can plunk some mud up here. If you would, do me a favor. Head over to Start Building Your Dreams on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I think Rampage is gonna need a bath. As you can see, definitely got some mud up under the grill there. Not a clean spot on the Jeep. We flung some on the rotor packs and up there on the awning cover. Man, she's gonna need a bath. Probably got 5 pounds of mud just in the wheels. Airbags, actually, I'm pretty impressed. Other than the noise of all the time, airbags do pretty good. But tomorrow should be a good day and we'll pick it back up. So thanks for watching. See y'all in the morning. Alright guys, so we are doing a little breakfast this morning. Jeep is covered in mud. So morning day 3 here at this beautiful lake near Charleston, South Carolina at the Woodland Reserve. And bacon is on, so check this out. Got bacon on this side. We've got some potatoes in the skillet over here. It's my go-to anytime I'm out and about. Get those nice and rolling, steaming. We'll flip them some. The bacon. We're using a little bit different bacon this time. This is some Wright hickory smoked bacon, if anybody's curious. And just to keep it even, what I like to do is rotate the skillet every little while. That way, if one side starts getting cold, the other side's still good to go. So look at the potatoes again. They're looking good, and give them a turn. But other than that, we're gonna head on back later today. Man, it's just beautiful out here. We did not bring the kayak. Friday was a torrential downpour, but overall, it's been very amazing. I saw a big blue herring this morning take off from the corner over here. All kinds of frogs though. Frogs all night long. Alright guys, so we just got some flight footage of them recovering an LMTV that was out here. There's a custom one that's built and he's got his little shack on the back and he really wheels that thing. He went through the obstacle course numerous times, but that much weight out by himself on some soft ground, he ended up getting stuck. So they used the Unimog to recover him, and then right now they're policing up everybody because at 201, since this is private property, they are going to start holding people accountable for trespassing. So we're going to start making our way back towards the base camp, maybe link up with Jeff, maybe do an interview, maybe not, but we'll see how it goes. And
Yeah, take a right there, Bino.
as you can hear, they're still talking.
It's a tight turn, y'all be careful.
But here's the obstacle course, and over here's a lot of mud.
Come back.
Hi guys, so here is Jeff's Unimog, and this thing's pretty awesome. I don't even know how many people he's pulled out this weekend. 52-inch military tires. He's got a huge winch up here. And the thing just goes. So pretty cool. He's got another toy over here, which is this old cab over Jeep I was admiring the other day. So let's go see if we can find Jeff and do a quick little overview, let him tell you about Overland South. Hey guys, so we're over here with Jeff from Overland South, and he put this together. This is your third event I'm tracking. Second event.
Yep.
So lots of growth. We missed coming last fall, but tell us a little bit more about the event so people out there, know who you are and what to expect if they come.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we are the only overlanding event in the region, actually. And it all started, I kind of wanted to go to one of the bigger expos, and they're always far away, and I just had this feeling of, why couldn't we do something like that here? Why doesn't our region deserve one? And so I talked with the local landowner who I met serendipitously about that same time, and he's like, oh, that'd be cool, and it just kind of grew from there. I'm not an event promoter, and it just happened, and so I've learned a lot about sort of running events, and thankfully we have some amazing volunteers. People are just willing to come out here and spend time, making the challenge course, mapping out trails, setting up tents, and it just I've met so many great people in this process, and that's been the real the best part of the whole thing is the people I've met in doing this.
Yeah, I know we had a great time, and I think we'll definitely be coming back. So I try to, do what I can to help promote the event.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. We're growing. So, my fear is, so I go, not running events professionally at all. I go from terror that nobody's going to show up to terror that too many people are going to show up. And so, fortunately, unfortunately, the weather kind of knocked some people off for Friday night, and so the ticket sales were kind of flat. But on the other hand, I think we got a good amount as we're growing. I think we're actually growing at a good pace. If everyone had bought tickets that week that I thought would have, we might have got too big for our britches. Really quick.
Last thing you want is one of those mega events. That's one thing I don't like about like Jeep Beach or Great Smoky is
that's
too
what I was
big.
going to talk about next. So we're growing, I think, at a slow but healthy pace. And honestly, from what I've heard about people who go to Expo and the really big ones, they're like, oh, they're camping and off-roading, and they're like, no, they spray paint a grid, and you get like a 20 by 20 box, and you got to camp there.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, that sounds like you jumped the shark.
Yeah.
So if I ever have to like spray paint a grid for people to camp in, then we got too big. That's when we cut it off.
Oh yeah.
We reduce the number of tickets and stick with that. But I don't want to get to that point. Which isn't a danger yet.
Yeah. And you guys brought out some world famous barbecue chef out here.
We did. John Haney is a pit master. He's been on cooking shows and all sorts of YouTube channel things. They interview him, but what's interesting about him is not only is he a pit master, he actually makes grills. He has a shop, and they manufacture grills at his shop. At our first event in the fall, I didn't know this until after the event. His shop had just burnt down 2 days before our event. He still showed up. He did the whole thing. They had big smiles and everything. And I found out afterwards. I'm like, John, I I don't think I would have been able to do that. He's like,
yeah.
oh no, I wasn't going to leave you high and dry. So just we have a great relationship, and as long as he'll come back, I'll have him come back.
Yeah. Well, there aren't too many Jeeps I've ever seen like this. Tell us a little bit about this cab over that you've got.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the Jeep FC forward control. This was built, this one is 64. They were built, I think, 1958 or 9 to 1965, I think. There are, several thousand of them out there, but most of them are the two-door version. So you have the FC 170 or 150. This one is the four-door version, which they only made for the military. And this is called an M677.
And it looks like this is this the original paint from?
This is not fake patina. This is the original paint. This came out of a farm field in Alabama. I bought it off of eBay.
Yeah.
It was rusted. So this has been tacked in right here, and every door has had so much. Like each door was probably 40 hours of work, and I did not do it myself. Greg's Restorations did it.
Yeah.
Did a fantastic job. But this is the original paint. And some cool things about this is tree care. So this says Webster Tree Care. On the other side is a telephone number.
Oh.
Greg called it. They're still in business.
Oh, wow.
And the guy was like, that was my grandfather's Jeep. I can't believe you had that. Just amazing. They were looking for some pictures.
Yeah.
And then right here you can see it's got a little radio tower. It's got a little lightning bolt coming out of it. And it says radio dispatched right there, which is super cool.
That must have been high tech back in the 60s.
Oh, it was. And I'll show you here in the front. So this looks like it's kind of sloppy.
Right.
But if you get close, they're logs. They're painted cut logs. You can see the logs, the cuts. They got little branches coming off it. So it's not sloppy at all. Somebody spent a lot of time making that really nice. Yeah, so come over here. Got the radio dispatch, little angle on that. And then here's their phone number. Webster Tree Care, they're still there in business.
Hopefully they won't blow them up on YouTube. We'll leave it a little bit blurry, but that is awesome.
That's all right. They might like the business.
Yeah.
But this thing has been an absolute pleasure. I'll show you the inside here. A little bit of work done. Sorry.
Rhino-line floor, nice comfy cabs.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's the engine right there in the box.
What size engine does this have?
That has a 4.0. Came out of a 2000 Cherokee. Yeah, we thought we'd keep it all in the Jeep family.
And so the transmission's back here, and you're kind of sitting on both sides of it. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. So that's if you need to access the engine in a big way, that you take that doghouse off.
I don't know how you get a cherry picker in there though.
No.
Interesting. And then you got a radiator back here, and you've gotten the full Overland setup here. So this is
we did.
This is awesome.
Yeah, we actually we took this vehicle to SEMA. Greg took it to SEMA, and we went back and forth. Are we going to go overland or not? And so we're like, all right, let's do it. So we got the rack and the tent. I didn't even show you the Warn winch on the front.
Oh yeah, that's a classic. It's an 8274.
That's exactly right. And I got to tell you, Greg reached out to Warn, and he just sent him a picture of the truck, and he said, we'd like to, we're taking it to SEMA, and Warn just said, we want to send you this winch. This winch belongs on this. They just sent it to us. They didn't say, okay, we need you to do this many social media posts or whatever. They just said, we want our winch on that truck. And it's fantastic. It's the perfect look, and I think this is the longest rope of any winch on.
And it's their fastest one, or it was the fastest until maybe modern times.
So, and it's funny that you recognize it. There are people who recognize that, and they're like, oh yeah, so this is a terrific winch. Really grateful for Warren for supplying that. Trying to think if there's anything else we should see on here. He basically custom built all the running gear on this.
Yeah.
It was quite a challenge to get it going. And
it looks like frame down, almost completely restored, inside restored, outside still left with the patina. So
and
that's nice.
I just, we could have painted it, and people ask, why don't you paint it? It's, it looks great to me as it is, and you can always go forward, but you can never go back, know? So I can paint it next week, but I can never get this again. And so in that way, it's more valuable to me in the patina. It doesn't spend much time outdoors. It's when it's not working, it's put away inside, so it's not rusting as much. Got these the solid wheels here. These are Detroit steel wheels. Cool. And he wanted to paint them, and I just wanted to go natural on them. So now we're starting to get a little patina on the wheels. Yeah. We'll just have to see where that goes. Maybe brush them down. Yeah. But I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you got your other toy back there.
I
could
do
think
have
I kind
another
of
toy.
walked around, and you're a man with some toys. So.
I have a couple toys.
What year is your Unimog?
Yeah, this is a 1990 Unimog 1350L. And let's see, I was actually, so there was an M677 that was on eBay, and they're oh, I forgot to mention, I think there are 42 known M677s.
Wow.
That
I
left
know
in
I
the
saw a
world.
red one at SEMA, like
Four-door?
picture, but
Oh, that last year. Yeah, Roy. Yeah. So actually, that is a FC 150 or 70. He added onto the back of that.
Oh.
But he's got a blue one called Cordon Bleu, which is the M677. They're
Cool.
both badass. Absolutely. So this one, sorry, I was telling the story. One came up on eBay, and it was kind of, it was a little rough, and I passed on it. I'll get the next M677 that comes along, not knowing, you know. 2 years I waited for another M677 to come on the market. I had like Google alerts, automatic searches set up. You know, anytime this term comes up, I get emails, I get alerts. I was scouring eBay, and 2 years, nothing comes up. And so during that time, I just kind of had a thing for a four-door cab. Yeah. I'm a family man. I got kids, so I need a four-door. And in my search for that, this came up.
Perfect family vehicle.
The perfect family vehicle. Yes, a four-door. Yeah. And so this came up, and I was like, that's cool. I don't know much, so I started researching some Unimogs, and like the deadline's running out on the auction. I'm like, you know what? I'll just throw in a low bid. I'm not gonna get it, but I want to be in the game, So I threw in a low bid, and I'm watching, and I'm waiting. You know how auctions go right at the end, like the snipers come in. Nothing happens. The auction closes, and it's mine. It's above the reserve. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So the guy called me. He's like, hey man, I import G-Wagons for a living. I just got this on a whim, and I would never have sold it for this price, but I had to get it off the lot. So you got really lucky.
Oh yeah.
And so I did, and then. Took this, it was in Denver, Colorado at the time. Took it across town to Jay Couch, who's also in Denver. And he had it for a few years actually out there doing all sorts of fun modifications and upgrades on it, So got the XCLs, Michelin XCLs, got a turbo intercooler, put an overdrive on it. Most importantly for Charleston, South Carolina, you may have to lift your camera up. Air conditioning unit.
Oh, nice.
Just a must-have. In Charleston, as you know, just in the summer, it's just so unbearable. So another option that we went for. But this thing, it's a, I got it for a good price, and then all that, probably put us on the negative, on the upside down. But every time I start it, I get a smile on my face. And it starts perfectly every time. Never,
knock on wood.
Just every time, it's just ready to go. And I get a big smile on my face. If I'm going to the grocery store, I have a big smile on my face. People come up to me excited, and I'm as excited as they are. Oh, I'm like, yeah, I know, it's great. Get in, I'll take a picture. I'm still excited about it years later. So I should probably, pare down my toys, but I can't choose between these two children. So.
And if you had to guess, how many people did you have to pull out this weekend?
Me personally, or
you personally? In the Unimog?
There were two. I'm told that were only the Unimog would have got them out, and one was an LMTV that was today, and one was a Chevy, or sorry, what was that? A Ram 3500, and it was down to the floorboards and soup. And that one, it took a little work, but they'd had a couple people try and winch it out already, and so that one felt good. It's got one of the options is a winch on the front, so that's a 25,000 pound winch.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and it's pretty serious. So I haven't had anything that I can't tow out of or winch out of yet. So,
nice.
Yeah.
And what size turbo diesel does this have?
This is an OM 366A. It's a 6-cylinder. I can't tell you liters offhand. I should know. Yeah, and then it's Jay. Put the turbo intercooler on and boosted the turbo, and I think with Unimogs it's not really about the horsepower, it's about the torque. Right. And that's true. So it will take its time going up the Cooper River Bridge, but it will pull your house down and pull it up the Cooper River Bridge
or
at
pull
the
it
same
behind
speed.
you.
But it's pretty fast for a Unimog. So I've caught myself at 72 on the highway,
yeah.
but I think about 69 is really the sweet spot for cruising on it. And most Unimogs are, you know, maybe
Lot
50.
slower.
Yeah. It's set up big. Big thanks to Jay and his team. They really knocked it out of the park. Super truck.
Well, Jeff, I know you're busy trying to shut down the show.
Yeah.
Guys, join us next time at Overland South in the fall time frame, October.
Fall, we're looking at October. We had a date in mind, and then there's every weekend has something going on, so we're just gonna have to make a pick here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should be announcing that in a few weeks.
Awesome. All right,
We'd
guys.
love to have you. Thanks.
Hey guys, so we've got the Moab Auto Air hooked up from Easy Flight. We are using our Thor's Lightning system, and we are airing back up the Jeep. I think that's going to be a wrap for today. I've had a great weekend here at Overland South. Again, we're near Charleston, South Carolina. There should be another event coming up in the fall, so if you want to come check it out, very low threat, lots of trails. I think there's 30 miles of trails on 6,000 acres to drive down here. It got a little wet and sloppy this weekend, but we had a great time. Friday, a little bit of a downpour. Saturday got better, and then Sunday, as you can see, is absolutely beautiful. So wide open spaces, lots to explore, and they opened this up only for these two major events. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. For early access, check us out over on TikTok and Instagram. And I get to share my dream with you. True purpose of this channel is help inform, motivate, and inspire you guys so you can get out there and start building your dreams.